So I'm an astrology lover, okay? And I don't know why these um, inspirations can't hit me when I've got all my outfit on for the day and makeup and full glam. But anyway, I got to get this out before I forget it, because I forget little nuances of inspirations unless I write it down immediately or speak about it immediately. And I just had a great one where, like, I put a bunch of stuff together and I was like, whoa, this is like crystallized. So I did a little video a while back that has no views, but in case somebody does view it and then wants more, here you go. I was talking about how the South Node in Leo is in my 4th house natally. Progressed ascendant for me is Cancer now. So I've noticed that I do kind of experience the transits from a Cancer rising also, but I generally start my journey with unpacking transits from my natal placements. Anyway, that's kind of some advanced astrology side note for anyone that is, advanced. So I did I'm also a witch, and I have an issue where my fiance, soon to be my husband, we've been together for 5 years. My mom is very gatekeepy with me. I was previously married for 14 years to someone else, the father of my 5 children. And, I'm an only child, and she and my biological father and my stepfather are very gatekeepy with me, which on the one hand I think is very sweet, because I know it's out of love and a desire to protect me, and no one's good enough for me, and all that kind of thing. But it's also really exhausting from the standpoint of someone who really wants family harmony and someone who really loves a person and wants them integrated into a family, when they're constantly being pushed out and cast out and kept at a distance. And my kids, who are still very close to their father, my ex-husband, that kind of makes it harder for them to move on and accept another person into their family. And I'm not saying that's anything that I expect them to do. That's something completely that happens at their own time and comfortability, and I have no control over that. However, in my witchcraft practice, I did a reconciliation spell I had the inspiration to do it. I only do my witchcraft by inspiration, like where I just, it all coalesces and it's like, this is the path forward, this is what I'm going to do. I don't like to force anything, because that drains my energy. So this is like an astrology witchcraft grab bag of topics in this video. But so yeah, maybe I'll title this something about like astrology and witchcraft. I thought this was just going to be a South Node topic, but this is kind of becoming more than that. So I did a reconciliation love spell, and really with that, I mean, there's a lot involved with that. Some people will say that doing love spells is has the same kind of karmic implications as like baneful workings, because you are overriding someone's free will. And the way I do love spells and reconciliation spells, has nothing to do with overriding another person's free will, but rather opening pathways, opening blockages so that the energy can flow, and then it's that person's decision at that point. What do you do? Now that the energy's opened, now that the blockages are cleared, what are you going to do? Are you going to restore that connection? Are you going to be open to that connection? What's your choice? What's your free will choice? So I don't feel any karmic implications because it's clearing energy, essentially is all it is clearing energy and blockages. So I did that spell, and I mean, it's nothing about me personally except for an understanding that I have, and that's why I wait for total clarity and inspiration on spells. All of the magic that I've ever performed is extremely powerful and extremely immediate. And after working the spell, which I actually put a short the day that I did it, just because I think witchcraft and spells are beautiful. Like, a spell for me has to have, I'm a Taurus rising, it has to have this like physical, tangible, luscious element to like bring the intention to earth. I want the fire, I want the water, I need all that to fully alchemize, the spell and the intention and what's going on. So that very day, like while the spell was still cooking, it was already working, and I felt the open roads. I felt the open pathways. And this is why I am such a spiritual person, and this is why I am a practitioner of witchcraft, is because the proof to me is when you think, you do a spell, and then you think thoughts that you've never thought before. Your witchcraft practice changes you. It changes you. It's amazing. It changes you and shows things to you that you didn't even know was your problem. Okay? So I guess where I'm getting at is, trying to do this love spell reconciliation among like my partner and my family and stuff like that. It's very much a fourth house concern, like my roots, my ancestry, like incorporating my partner into, into that family tree, into that ancestry, into that kind of roots place. And this is why I also love astrology, is because even when I don't see that what I'm doing is related to the astrology, I find out, along the way, oh my gosh, like the energies that I'm feeling, the energies that I'm incorporating into my life or my practice, like, is so in sync with the astrology. So, and the next thing I'm going to tell you, how I'm just like mind blown and I didn't see it, is I have Leo, obviously, in that fourth house. And I've always thought, okay, Leo in my fourth house, what is that about? Like, I was a hyperachiever when I was in high school. Is it because like, my family was super proud of me? Like, they were always telling me they were proud of me, and was that Leo in the fourth house? Like, I didn't know, but it's been revealed to me, my ego, I have a son who is a Leo sun. My oldest son is a Leo sun. And he has always pushed against authority so much. He's wanted to be an adult since he was, a toddler. Probably before he was a toddler. It's just he couldn't speak. So I don't have any, hard and fast words he said. But he was a very fussy baby. He hated having any kind of limitations. Like, he wanted to do exactly what he wanted. He wanted to be exactly who he wanted to be. At the same time, he wanted us all to be pleased with him. He wanted us all to be happy. If he wanted to, try an illicit drug or get a hand tattoo, or, I don't have a problem with hand tattoos, but you can imagine some people in our family, do. But, he's very provocative. He's very, I want to be me, regardless of the group. So maybe that is kind of the Leo Aquarius axis, like a good, touchstone for me of what that looks like. I want to be me, and I want you to accept me, but I'm not going to change. I want to be me, And it's like, it's that tug of war, which all of a little bit advanced astrology, all of the axes, there's axes 6, I believe, because there's 12 signs, in the chart, there's a Virgo Pisces axis, whatever is across from each other. Aries Libra axis. What on earth? It just fell. Just a sec. Oh. It was like a little plaque. But along these axes is an opposition, two things pulling in an opposite direction. Whereas Leo wants, this total regal, I am the king. And Aquarius wants, I am a part of a group. I'm no better than my brother. It's the balance of those two ideas. So, like, what's best for me? What's best for humanity? That's another very good description of that continuum or axis. So, I realized that within my 4th house, I have a lot of ego. And I have this feeling like, this is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to take. This is the partner that I choose. And, like, how dare you, not accept him, make him feel welcome. Like, how dare you? Was kind of my underlying emotion toward the whole thing. Like, how rude. Like, how rude that you wouldn't make this easy for me. Or I realized my own assholery or like low vibration in the whole thing, like the low vibe Leo. And another side note, our North Node in evolutionary astrology, which that's why I love astrology, because it's like, I don't like it for just like fortune telling, doom and gloom, or like you're gonna win the lottery or whatever. That stuff is probably actually accessible through astrology. However, that's just not, I'd rather evolve as a soul through it. That's just me being high-minded and esoteric. But, so with the North Node, that's like where you're kind of going toward, and where right now in time, you're going to be kind of opening new horizons, like it's time in your life, because like Aquarius is going to be in different houses of your chart. For me, it's the 10th house. So it's like I'm going to kind of be making new frontiers in my 10th house, which is career, legacy, my status in the world. And it's going to have an Aquarian vibe, a humanitarian. I am no better than my brother. I am, considering how does this affect us all as a whole, humanity as a whole, life on earth as a whole, life in the universe as a whole. That's how I see Aquarius. That's how, is commonly seen. So I'm going to be kind of moving more toward that in my midheaven area, seeing how to incorporate that nature of that house more. And then with the South Node being in Leo, I am going to be incorporating more, not so much incorporating, but releasing. Like if I choose to, if I work with it, I'm going to be given like opportunities to release that low vibe Leo, that karmic South Node, lessons you need to learn, Leo. Our South Node is like, whether or not you believe in this, just kind of go with me for a minute and try to imagine you do have past lives, okay? Or imagine, some other scenario, like maybe you come into this world with a great amount of knowledge about something. So our South Node in our chart, that is just, it's there. Mine's in Sagittarius. And, that's kind of what you come into this planet knowing a lot about, being really, having a lot of history with. So our South Node in the transit, as the North and South Nodes transit through our chart, the South Node is going to be the energies that we've been with, thus far in life. If you're 5, it's the energies you've had since you were born, so for 5 years. But for me, it's going to be 42 years worth of doing this in my 4th house, doing this Leo energy in my 4th house. And how am I going to let go of the baggage? Okay, so as I was saying, I had to do my actual job, you guys. What the heck? So what I was kind of trying to express there, sorry, let me get this up, is that releasing that karmic, okay, so karmic means kind of the stuff we come in with, the baggage we come in with, and getting rid of the negative stuff, the bad stuff, the stuff that doesn't work, the stuff that makes negative experiences in life. I realized where that was in me in regards to the situation that I was wanting to heal. Like basically my part in the healing. And I realized that I kind of had that toddler, childish, which that's a low vibe Leo, prideful, predisposition in my family sector to be like, this is what I want to do, and so you need to accept it. And it revealed it to me, and I realized I need to take a more Aquarian approach to that, or just a healing to that, which is to realize I don't have the right, and this is funny because I've told this to my ex-husband and my oldest son, you can do whatever you want to do, but you can't expect other people to be happy about it, and I feel like this is the perfect kind of energy of the Leo Aquarius axis. Is you can do you can be authentic, you can absolutely shine, in all of your particular glory, but you can't expect everyone to like it, and there could be things that you're doing within that expression and within that energy that you're kind of blindsided as to how it's going to affect your place in humanity as a whole. And I don't know so much that we need to always change those things. Rather, I think we need to have a balanced and mature expectation, okay? So how I have changed the way I think about this whole thing, like healing, love, reconciliation, putting my family together, I've really kind of stepped back from this vision of like everybody is happy and love each other. Now, I haven't abandoned it completely. I want that someday. I want that. I hold that vision and I hold that possibility. And with the reconciliation spell, I keep that road open. I keep that path open. However, like I said, I cannot control what people are willing to accept. I can't control that someone is willing to give mercy. All I can do is keep that road open energetically so that if they have that inspiration on their own or they make that choice on their own, there's not a bunch of different little snafus in the way. We can go toward reconciliation. We can go straight toward reconciliation. And every time that somebody has a change of heart or a change of mind or a change of spirit in that way, we can make progress, hopefully, in that direction. So, that being said, I hope that this experience helped unpack for you kind of some nuances of Leo and Aquarius energy and how it might be showing up in your chart on wherever the axis falls. So I hope you have a great witchy day. Bye.